welcome to Hallar. As far as opening hand goes, yeah, we're going to keep on this one. I like this one. We do have a kicker ramp spell in the hand, so if we need to use it without a kicker, we can definitely go for that. But other than that, yeah, we have 3 lands in the hand. We have Harmonize to give us some additional card draw, and then we have Overload to hopefully take care of some of our opponent's artifacts, maybe some of the ramp stuff. But we're on the play. Let's go ahead and get down. I guess it doesn't really matter. We're going to get down Scalding Tarn, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Hallar, the Firefletcher. Hallar has Trample. Whenever you cast a spell, if that spell was kicked, put a +1 counter on Hallar, and then Hallar deals damage equal to the number of +1 counters on it to each opponent. Let's go and crack Scalding Tarn. Let's go and grab the, what is it, Cinderglade? No, that one comes into play untapped. Sheltered Thicket. Yeah, there we go. That's going to come into play tapped no matter what, so we're going to get that one out of the way, and then let's see what else we draw into. Draw into Worn Power Stone. Let's go ahead and go for Forest, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. We covered Hallar. We're playing against Arcanis, the Omnipotent. Tap, draw 3 cards, and for 4 mana activation, return Arcanis to its owner's hand. Pretty much mono blue control on this one, so hopefully we don't end up losing on this one. Let's go ahead and get on Firelit Thicket. Let's go ahead and go. Do we want to tap out for Worn Power Stone? Yeah, I kind of like going for that. I just want to build up a bunch of mana as possible. When you're playing against mono blue, one of the things that you can do, or let's say that you're playing against a control style deck and you're worried about running into a lot of counter spells. If we simply just run out Hallar into 3 mana and then they counter it, we're kind of in a bad spot. So one thing that you can do is just very slowly start rolling out a bunch of really good value stuff, and that's what we're going to try and do at this point right now. I'm just going to go for Temple of Abandon. Let's get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever. Failwar Stone. Yeah, let's go and put that on top. I like that. Put that on top of our library. Let's go and go for Worn Power Stone, get down Mind Stone, and let's go and go for Hallar. Opponent does have F6 on right now, so let's see if this is good. Yep, Hallar is good. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. That's one of the benefits of playing Magic Online, is sometimes you start to cast stuff and your opponent may have the... they may just have F6 up to where they're auto-yielding. You're like, all right, well, maybe they just don't have a counterspell then. All right, so as far as this goes, we're looking at 3 coming across. We do have Grow from Ashes, and we do have more than enough mana to go with the kicker cost. So let's go and get that rolling. That's going to be 1, 2, 3... and then tap out for green, and then 1 more on the Firelit Thicket. All right, so we're going to get a +1 counter on Hallar. It's going to make it a 4/4. We're going to be able to swing across, and then we'll be able to end up with 2 basics on the battlefield. Now, the fun thing about Grow from Ashes is that whenever you do kick it, it's going to be 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, not tap. So when you kick them, you end up with 2 cards not tap. I know I just repeated myself, but I at least wanted to highlight that one. Let's get down Forest. Let's get down Mountain. We can go for Harmonize if we wanted to. Let's go and swing it for 4 at this point right now. It's going to knock our opponent down to 25, and that will be 4 total commander damage as long as this does stick. There we go. All right. Put them down that. Let's go ahead and go for... Yeah, let's go and go for Failwar. Do we want to go for Harmonize? Yeah, let's go for Harmonize. Why not? We need to get the card draw going. If they got a counterspell, they'll use it. They haven't used it yet, so more than likely, if they do have a counterspell, we'll see this kind of come out, because drawing 3 cards would definitely be really good to our benefit. Now, we do have 2 kicker spells in the hand. Let's see what they're going to tap out for. It might be Cryptic Command, counter target spell, draw a card. Okay, that's fine. All right. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We do have 2 kicker spells in the hand. The only thing that we're kind of missing at this point right now is to get some sort of action on Hallar. You want to have something like the... Hardened Scales is going to allow us to get 2 additional, or double the number of counters on there. Solidarity of Heroes is another great card for Hallar. Makes for a really fun match. Drawn to Canopy Surge. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go and go for Failwar Stone. That's going to be 1/2 off the Mind Stone. And let's go and go for Emblazoned Golem. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for Golem. Let's go and cast it with X Kicker. Let's go ahead and go red. Let's go and tap out for pay X. X is going to be blue. X is 1. Yeah, there we go. So that will be a kicker spell. That's going to give us a 1/1 counter onto Hallar, and it's going to allow us to swing in for a 5/5 body. Let's get the Golem down, and then anything else is going to push in on this one. Now, we do have Overload that can work at instant speed. If we need to, we can actually go for Overload. We can actually kick it too, targeting Mind Stone, if that's something we need to deal some last-minute damage to our opponent. But at this point right now, we'll just go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, we did draw into Canopy Surge. It's going to deal 1 damage to each creature with flying and each player. And then if we kick it, this could be 4 damage to each... Let's make sure we hit the F3 button. Glimmer of Genius. Yeah, that's fine. Go for it. But yeah, if we do end up kicking Canopy Surge, it's going to be 4 damage to each creature with flying and each player instead. Now, unfortunately, Arcanis does not have flying, but if our opponent, blue does have some flying creatures, so if they get some flying creatures on the battlefield, we'll at least be able to kind of go for Canopy Surge and start swinging in from that. Now, our opponent is sitting at 9 total commander damage. They are sitting at 18, so we're looking at about 7 coming across next turn, putting them down to 11. The only thing we kind of do need to start watching out for is going to be something like Cyclonic Rift. Opponent just straight up went for Glimmer of Genius, and they have not got down anything on the battlefield. And they have a full 7 cards in the hand, so that's something to kind of worry about just a little bit. All right, drawn to Gear Hulk. Do we want to go for Gear Hulk on this one? More than likely, we'll see. This will draw out a counter spell on this one, but we have nothing else to stop it, so it's almost like I'd rather just kind of roll out Gear Hulk into a counter spell just to kind of get it out of the way. Let's try and force the issue on this one. Let's go for Mind Stone. That's going to be 1/2 off the Worn Power Stone, and let's go double green on this one. So let's see if we can't get Gear Hulk to stick onto the battlefield. If it does, we'll get some +1 counters distributed. And yeah, let's go and put them all on Hallar. Yeah, click OK on that one. It's going to make it putting it right at 6 total counters, making it a 9/9. So that will be 18 total commander damage. Let's go and push in on this one. And we could sequence it to where we could get a few more counters on there and maybe go for a commander damage win, but I'm just really worried about something bouncing it back to the hand. Or, yep, evacuation. That's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and go for Overload. We'll do this. Let's go ahead and go for Overload. We'll go ahead and cast with the Kicker spell, because that's 6 damage. We'll go and take that one. Cast with Kicker. We'll go and destroy. Dude, what are we going to take here? I actually want to hold on to one. We'll get rid of it in Blaze Golem. I mean, that allow us to get another Kicker down. We'll still have Gear Hulk to go. Actually, let's do this. Let's go ahead and tap out for Fell War Stone. We're going to choose that one. That's going to be red, that one, and then tap out for Firelit Thicket. So we're going to get an additional +1 counter on Hallar. That's going to put it at 7 total counters, and then we'll deal that damage, knocking them down to 11. All right. It's going to return all creatures back to our hand. That's going to put us at 2 left, and then anything else we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, this is the point in the games where you can kind of see how explosive Hallar can be. When you're playing against mono blue and they have a lot of counter spells and stuff like evacuation, this is where Hallar kind of starts to not really shine that well. You know, when you're playing against a heavy control deck, especially in a 1-versus-1 setting. You know, in a multiplayer setting, if we had more creatures on the battlefield or something like that, there'd be more targets for the mono blue deck. But at least in a 1-versus-1 setting, Hallar sometimes kind of just, it falls victim to the a lot of moving parts, and I don't know how to describe that. Sometimes there's certain commander decks that you play that just have a lot of moving parts, and Hallar is one of those decks that tends to have a lot of moving parts sometimes, and that just really kind of hurts you against a control deck, but it's still fun to play. Okay, let's go and go for Hallar. That's going to go and cast that one. That's going to be red-green, and then 1 off Mind Stone. And then any certain way, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're looking at 7 total mana. I don't know if there's any way we can really get some really good kicker going. They have 6 cards in the hand. Yeah, let's go. They've got 1 mana. Let's get as many counters onto Hallar as possible. I think that's going to be good for us. It's going to be 1, 2. Unfortunately, it puts us in a spot where we can't pay for any kicker stuff. But there we go. Let's put all of those onto Hallar. He's hungry. I mean, excuse me, Hallar is hungry, not he. Anything else, we're going to go and pass it under our opponent. So we don't have anything to pay for kicker. Now, one thing that I did include in the deck, which actually works really well, you know, in a certain scenario like this, we wouldn't have enough for lethal, but there are a bunch of kicker spells that have sacrifice a land or sacrifice a creature or sacrifice an artifact. So that kind of allows you to, once you do have a lot of counters on Hallar, you can actually just very cheaply just kind of roll through some of your kicker spells, whether it's sacrificing a land or an artifact, to kind of cast those. You know, it's really nice to have something like Canopy Surge, where you're looking at 4 total mana to really take advantage of that with Hallar. When you have some of those other like conditional kicker spells, it kind of allows you to have some really explosive turns sometimes. But I'm just going to go for Rite of Replication onto Gear Hulk. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now that gives us an option. Our opponent is sitting at 11. We have at least 2 kicker spells next turn. Let's see if we can't get it going. Maybe, just maybe, our opponent will be nice enough to give us some +1 counters on Hallar. It'll help us out, but let's go and let them resolve this Rite of Replication at this point. Okay, let's go and always yield to those Gear Hulk triggers. Let's see how they decide to distribute one. Each one, it's kind of like that Oprah meme where it's like, you get counters, and you get counters, and you get counters. But I think, now that I think of it, I think we might be able to close it out because they're completely tapped out. The only thing that would really hurt us is Force of Will, but even then, we're going to get that kicker cost, because I think if we go kicker, that's 5, puts him down to 6, and then recast and Blaze Golem, we're going to be in a spot to go ahead and close it out. So I think we're going to go and go for that one. Or if we wanted to, we could actually just put Canopy Cover onto Hallar, but let's go and get some good kicker stuff going. Let's go and go for Golem on this one. Cast with X Kicker. That's going to be, actually, excuse me, can we do that with... But either way, actually, with Canopy Cover, we can kind of go and close it out. Let's go ahead and go for Canopy Surge with 2 kicker. That's going to deal 4 damage to each creature with flying. So there's no flying out there, so it's basically just going to blank the board out. 1/2 on Worn Power Stone. That's going to put 5 count. That's going to make it 5 counters on Hallar, dealing that 5 damage, and putting them up to 6, and then let that resolve. And with the Golem, yeah, actually we can tap out for 2, and we're going to go kicker. We can only use colored mana on this one. There we go. So X is going to be 1. There we go. And that will be just enough right there. It's going to put an additional +1 counter on Hallar, and that's going to be more than enough to go and close it out right there. Sorry about that weird edit. Sometimes when the game ends, it kind of shoots it back to the desktop, and I just kind of wanted to talk about our board state. But yeah, you know, as far as Hallar goes, you're going to end up with some of these games to where you kind of end up with these really quick games sometimes. And I'd love to get as long of games as possible so you can watch as much of Hallar as possible. But sometimes you just get a lot of counters on there and you close it out really quick, or your opponent's able to deal with Hallar really quick and then just kind of stomp over you. But so this is kind of one of those videos to where we got to see some good action from our Arcanis opponent. We did play around a counterspell with the Cryptic Command. They did grab some of that, and we were able to actually get around an evacuation. So you can see where Hallar, and simply something using like Gear Hulk that's going to get a lot of counters on it really quick, is a really great way to get Hallar going. And then also something as simple as Canopy Cover. You know, you're going to be spending a lot of time getting +1 counters on Hallar using that kicker cost, and then you just throw a Canopy Cover on there. And the good thing about Canopy Cover is that it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach, and then it can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. So let's say that we have Swiftfoot Lightning Greaves on the battlefield. That's going to give Hallar Shroud. That's actually going to allow us not to target Hallar with Gear Hulk. So when you have something like Canopy Cover on Hallar, it's going to allow you to push past your opponent. Let's say we didn't have kicker spells. Our opponent's life total down was low enough to where we probably could have been able to close the game out with Canopy Cover actually in the hand, pushing past all these Gear Hulks, these copies of Gear Hulks on the battlefield. But yeah, you know, it's a really good card for the deck, and I highly suggest putting Canopy Cover in there, because there's going to be some games to where you've got a lot of counters on Hallar, you don't draw into that kicker spell, you just throw Canopy Cover there on it, and you're going to be able to swing in for lethal. But that will wrap up the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and in fact, if you did, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.